What's up with you, though, Mr. Exclusive? How's your day? I know you're busy all the time.
Not too busy to first of all, to learn from you guys. And, your combined age, all of you, you're 28, you're 26, you're 14. And,
okay.
That's the lowest one I got was 14.
Yeah, for real. Like, hey, you gave me a young one. I'll take that. I'll take that young age.
You wouldn't believe how old me and James are, actually.
Exactly.
A lot of people say the Law Nation looks like James Harden, but if you saw James Harden, you seen James Harden on the court tonight?
Ooh, he big. Ooh,
he's so fat.
That's what we was just talking about.
He looked like he ate Law Nation and ate Luka Doncic all at the same time. This might be terrible YouTube video. Here's a picture.
This is not
a joke. Here's a picture of Fat Harden.
He blew up.
Wow.
There you go.
Get in my belly.
Yeah, he swolled up.
Hey, but you know what, Fish? That's him forcing his way out of Houston. You know what I'm saying? He gonna and then bet you he lose that weight real quick.
As soon as he goes to Philadelphia,
yes, we'll see.
Or so you wouldn't want him in Dallas.
Can I be frank about it? Obviously,
he's doing that, Law.
He's so brilliantly talented. He really did reinvent basketball. Mm-hmm. His ability to draw a foul is a reinvention of basketball. But
flopping.
But his teams don't win, and he's the reason.
Exactly.
And so, like James Harden and Westbrook on the same team should be pretty unstoppable. Why weren't they? And I know everybody's going, "Oh, you put him with Kyrie and Durant." I'm like, do it. I'm not scared because something will implode because of Fatty.
Call me Fatty now.
He is fatty.
Those two, when that happened, I was like, okay, on paper, 2K, you look at Harden, you look at Westbrook, that's fun. But in real life, no chance in hell. They both need the ball too much.
Psychologically, they say eat their feelings.
Right.
James Harden has a lot of feelings.
He's on a roll tonight.
They're going ham on Harden, dog.
Hey, James, get Fish off Harden.
Hey man, let's jump off the top turnbuckle because remember you said 20 minutes. You talking, already took up 3, so now we got 17.
Right.
You feel me? So let's get it together over here. You feel me, big dog?
He's funny.
But for real, we got a quick question for you right off the top turnbuckle. We talking about Mike McCarthy. I've been seeing your tweets and you've been going. I ain't gonna say you've been going off on McCarthy, but it seems like you've been like, okay, well, you've been asking this about Garrett, but what about McCarthy? Why is this not happening with McCarthy? Why is this? Hold on. Let me finish it. I'm asking, what are your kind of thoughts about McCarthy? Because you've been going strong on him. Are you okay with the hire? What are your thoughts about McCarthy, as a whole, as it relates to the Cowboys?
Jeff Kavanaugh is one of my best nephews. And I love him to death. But Kavanaugh has done me wrong on 105.3 The Fan by making this about Garrett. My criticism of McCarthy has nothing to do with Garrett, Parcells, Chan Gailey, Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson, Dave Campbell. It has nothing to do with who was here before. Now, that's nothing to do with who I like and who I don't like. My criticism of this head coach is based solely on, 2 things, 3 and 9 up until the Bengals game. If you go 3 and 9, you should get criticized. I don't care if your quarterback got hurt. I don't care if the dog ate your homework. I don't care if your mom didn't love you. If you go 3 and 9, you get criticized. And if this was Philadelphia, New York, Boston, he'd be getting roasted. So McCarthy should be glad that he's in softy DFW, where it's America's team, so everything's fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's glitz and glamour and shiny, but this isn't shiny. Jerry comes out on 105.3 The Fan and says he's really impressed with all the things that Mike McCarthy has overcome.
Well, that's Jerry,
What are you talking about? The Cowboys have had all the same problems that other teams have had. Jerry goes, well, he's overcome COVID. If you're 3-9, you didn't overcome COVID. COVID overcame you. If you're 9-3, you overcame COVID.
Facts.
So I go back to when McCarthy was first hired. And by the way, it's not that I don't like him. You know, there's about 12 of us who have met Mike McCarthy, and I'm one of them. And I liked him fine. We had a coldie, and we talked about his dad being a cop in Pittsburgh. It was all great. But I said this about all the coaches that I've covered, starting with Jimmy. If you go 1-15, out of every 16 things that I say and write about you, 15 should be bad. If you go 15-1, out of every 16 things I say about you, 15 should be good. That's just how you're graded.
Yeah. And
so I'm not anti-McCarthy. I think it's puzzling that the Cowboys didn't really interview anybody else. Why didn't they interview? And Marvin Lewis was a courtesy, a Rooney Rule.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they interview Matt Rule, who's like right across the street?
Fish, I heard that Jay Glazer had a lot of influence on Mike McCarthy being hired. I didn't know he was connected to the franchise like that.
Well, Jay Glazer, there's a couple guys in the media who have earned the ear of people who run teams.
Okay.
People listen to Jay Glazer. He's plugged in, so that's okay. Rick Gosselin is like invented draft coverage in the newspaper. So when Rick Gosselin would write, the Bills are interested in Joe Blow, the Cowboys listened. So sometimes the Cowboys would even ask Rick Gosselin, are the Bills really interested in Joe Blow? And that would help the Cowboys. And Chris Mortensen. And he's got Jerry's ear too. So those three guys are guys that the Cowboys have visited with. And I think it's fine. I think the more information is the better, as long as Jay Glazer didn't make the hire. And by the time Mike McCarthy comes to town, serves as the only interviewee, sleeps over, has himself some Johnny Walker Blue, pretends like he's analytics guy, which he's not, and pretends like he sat over the course of 2019, he sat all the Cowboy film, watched all the stuff, and he didn't.
Bamboozle.
That part makes you feel like the Joneses got hoodwinked a little bit, which doesn't mean I'm against McCarthy. It's good for all of us if Mike McCarthy's Cowboys win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
So I think that'd be awesome. But they were 3-9 going into Cincinnati, and so why are we talking about a Super Bowl? Let's talk about something that Jerry thought was ridiculous. He said today on the radio, it's not ridiculous to question the job security of 3-9 coaches. In my job on the radio at CowboysSI.com or here, if out of every 12 things I did, 9 of them were failures, you should question whether or not you follow me on YouTube.
See, what we want to hear as fans is Steven and Jerry come out and say exactly what Alden Smith said. Hey, we suck. Okay? We're going to try to get it together, but right now, we suck. So when they come out and they try to, feed us all this rainbows and Skittles and everything, we see right through it. And as you see it, you see right through it. And just, to me, it's one of those things where it feels like Jerry he doesn't like being wrong, which no one does, right? But he's not going to come out publicly and say it. But 2, could we be going down a similar path? Remember, he was saying some similar things about Jason Garrett. Oh, I know he's the guy. He's our guy. He's saying those same things about Mike McCarthy. Granted, it is year 1, but like you said, 3-9, 4-9, that's not good, man. It's okay to say it's not good.
Right.
I don't know if the comments are saying that I'm blowing smoke up Jerry's butt.
I haven't listen. If you
they can see
Fish,
the comments.
And they go ham in the comments.
Tread lightly in those comments, Fish.
Yeah, they're gonna go ham in the comments.
I've never denied my like friendship or admiration or whatever you want to call it with Jerry Jones. But I just said Jerry got hoodwinked.
Mm-hmm.
How much harder do you want me to be on it? There's some people and even media people that like make fun of Jerry's age or his wrinkles or his face or can I swear on this show?
Yep.
You can do whatever you want.
Hype.
Late night hype.
Just a late night hype.
Making fun of Jimmy Johnson's hair, making fun of Jerry Jones's face. That's not analysis. That doesn't get us anywhere. So leave that shit to the amateurs. We're trying to talk here. I'm talking as somebody now. And by the way, I am only drinking Diet Coke, so don't make any mistakes.
Well, listen, we ain't. You know.
Yeah. This is some
chilling.
This is Irish coffee for me.
I mentioned Chris Mortensen and Peter King's in this group and Jay Glazier, but I'm telling you, not bragging. Nobody has sat down and had more conversations media-wise with Jerry Jones in 30 years than me. So do I like him? I do. But that doesn't mean he gets a pass for everything he does. And somebody makes a great point over here. Todd, Jason Garrett's just a clapper. And like some of the most respected media people in the country were doing that. That's not analysis.
Yeah, you're right. They were.
Right.
And then now that Jason Garrett's gone, and by the way, I have a friendship with Jason Garrett, which doesn't mean I didn't call for his firing, which I did on national TV on the NFL Network before the Chicago game on the field. I called for and predicted Jason Garrett's firing, even though I like him. My liking him has nothing to do with one or the other. But now we see, other coaches clap. Other coaches chew gum. Other coaches say process. God almighty, we killed Garrett for process.
Mike said it. Mike McCarthy on the press conference.
They all say it.
Yeah.
Rick Carlisle of the Maverick says it all the time. But because Rick Carlisle has earned our respect, we think, Carlisle, process. But then we make fun of Jason Garrett for the same thing. That's not analysis.
No.
So please don't paint me in the corner of being with those dolts. I'm not one of those dolts. I can separate my affection, friendship for somebody and still say he sucks. In fact, I'll tell you guys an old story where I invented this for myself. Because of my relationship with Michael Irvin when he played. I never had to write that the Cowboys had a bad game, in my opinion, ever. Because I'd go into the locker room, in the bathroom with Michael Irvin, and he'd tell me, here's what you should say, and quote me. Blah, this sucked, that sucked, I sucked, he sucked, they sucked, this game plan, this play. So I didn't have to say Michael Irvin had a bad game. I quoted Michael Irvin saying he had a bad game. And that's still the best way to do the job that I do. My opinion doesn't matter near as much as the guy who missed the tackle. I want to hear his opinion why he missed the tackle, not my dopey exclusive opinion.
Hey, don't shit on the exclusives, man.
Right. That's a good little brand. That's a good little brand.
I told you. All right.
We ain't right now. We like you talking.
A lot of us
now.
be asking this right here. Who are football guys? Is Jerry Jones a football guy? Is Stephen Jones a football guy? Are these guys really in the trenches with the football stuff? Or what's going on? What's the true storyline with that?
All right. May I?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir.
We're waiting.
Law, are you a football guy?
Hey.
Yeah.
I think you are too.
I see where you're going,
more
Fish.
about football than Stephen Jones?
Say again, I didn't get you all the way.
Do you think that Law, the football guy, knows more about football than Stephen Jones?
From a relative aspect, I think that he probably have more experience than me, to be honest.
Therefore,
What?
So he's a football guy.
he's got to be. If you are,
True.
you're a football guy. Stephen Jones has been a general manager or assistant general manager of a pro football team for 30 years and then played 4 years at Arkansas.
Facts.
He's got to be.
I see where you're going with that, Fish.
I know
Okay,
he's
can I
painting a
jump in there,
picture.
Fish?
I want to
Can
see
I-
this
can I
picture
jump in
being
here, Fish,
painted
on that?
completely, though.
So okay, I hear what you're saying. He played 4 years at Arkansas, and he was raised in it. So yeah, he has more maybe experience than us in a sense. I mean, I coached 15 years, but I didn't do it on that level that he's doing it. So I would say yes, he has
Facts.
more experience for sure. But why is he so gun shy? Why does he not want to touch free agency? I hear what he's saying, that we don't want to overpay for, regular players, but there are really good players that are young that you can jump out there and still sign and improve your team. We have seen other teams time and time again get one or two. You don't have to splurge, but you get one or two good free agents that can make something. Why do we always wait till the third wave to get somebody and get the bargain people that aren't really making a difference with the team? And we all know it. They are not making the difference. And then you're getting people that are over 30 and you're signing them to 1 or 2 year deals. Why don't he go out and get one of these young ones that can make an impact on the team?
100%. I personally agree with you, but that doesn't make their foundational philosophies wrong. It just makes them different from yours and mine.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't
But
make it wrong.
is it not hurting the team though?
Well, my question for you is there really a right and wrong way to build a team?
There's
If
different.
there was a right way, why didn't they all do it?
There's different ways to skin the cat.
There's 32 different ways.
Yeah, but you do have to question where you see trends in the league. The Cowboys tend to not do it. We spent the least amount of money at the defensive up the middle, defensive tackle and safety than any other team in the last 8 years. But if you look at those same 8 years, you'll see defensive tackle and safety has been an important position that we tend to, this is just an example, that we tend to ignore. So
Yeah,
why don't we,
and I know you guys aren't doing this on purpose. I don't want to be on here like I'm the Cowboy homer.
No.
We ain't even coming at you like that,
No,
big
not
dog.
at all.
You know what I'm saying? We just talking. What you talking with us? When you talking real stuff to us and we listening. You feel me? We ain't hating on everything you saying. We having real conversation right now. That's all. Nobody's
totally agree.
looking at you like that.
I agree, but I see the comments make it sound like.
Don't worry about them, no. Don't worry about that. That's the people.
I'm not defending. I'm explaining their view.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I agree with their view. I just said I agree with the view that there are times to spend money in free agency, and this team generally doesn't believe in that.
Mm.
But and I'm friends with Mickey Spagnola. But if you guys, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about commenters.
I understand.
If you want a guy who's like saying everything's okay with the Cowboys, then get Mickey on this show. I just said 3-9 gets you abused by me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're 3-9, you did not do a good job, not only in free agency, as you point out, you didn't do a good job in anything.
Right.
If you're 3-9, nothing. And so I am not a defender of the Cowboys. I'm not an apologist of the Cowboys. I'm an explainer of the Cowboys. And I'm lucky enough to have the access that I do. So I feel like that I can put into words some of their thoughts. Doesn't mean I agree with them. I'm just telling you what they think. And so, does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Just like the perspective that you put me in earlier.
Right, that's what
I was
I'm
like,
saying.
damn, I really got no room to get out of that bag. I can't get on this show and say, yeah, I know more than Stephen Jones. I have more experience than him, right? So all we can do is look back at this thing and say, okay, based on the decisions they made in the last 10 to 15 years, it's been right in the middle of the road. And we want what's best for this team. They come out saying that they love or like their guys, and we look at it like, man, at least bring somebody in for a cup of coffee. Just like on your report with Ron Leary, he was right down the street. You didn't have to go through the growing pains, right?
Oh, they blew it with Ron Leary. And I talked to Ron Leary. I mean, I talk to him every week still, and I talk to him every day during that. They blew it. They asked him to join them a week after he was telling them, I want to join you. They said no. The next week, on a Thursday, they called him and said, okay, we're yes. And he goes, you're 4 days late. I just told my wife I'm going to retire. They blew it. He'd be the starting left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys all year. And you'd never have any worries about it. So I'm not defending. There's no defense for 3 and 9. That's not me.
Well, let me ask you this, Fish. Since we're talking about this with this thing with Mike Nolan, we've seen the defense, we've seen the rating of the defense, we've seen Jerry come out and said, maybe, I don't really think we should have did all the changing that quick and this and that. So Mike Nolan, what is really going on with him? Is he going to be on the outs? And I was talking about this yesterday on the show. Let's say he go out. Let's say they get rid of him. We got a guy named George Edwards who it seems to me don't really have a name for a job. And we know Cowboys love in-house. Would the Cowboys say, Joneses, we're going to make the hire if we remove Mike Nolan. We're going to find a defensive coordinator. We're going to let Mike Nolan do it. What's your thoughts on that the whole defensive coordinator thing?
Okay, so I was there when Jimmy quitter.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Quitter.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Go ahead, give the story.
And in comes Barry and a bunch of really good assistant coaches, good guys, good assistant coaches. Were like elbowing and clamoring.
I want it. Yeah.
To be the second guy on the totem pole. And that's why the head coach should, by and large, be in charge of his staff. But he hired Mike Nolan with all his qualifications, and also their friendship. And that didn't work. I have to sidebar. Fish sucks because he blocks folks. I'm going to tell you the only people I block on Twitter you must be talking about.
Fish ain't playing them.
People I block. I block the racist.
Fish wild.
I block the cesspool racist. And so if somebody comes at me on Twitter and I can sense it, there's something racist about their tone. Then I go look at their feed before I make my final judgment. And it's a cesspool. I block you. And then the other person I block is if you say, Fish, you're just like Skip. I don't even let the last 2 letters get out of your mouth. You're just like Skip. I block you. It's only 2 people I block. So I do not block very many people.
I definitely don't think you are like Ed Warder. If you disagree with Ed Warder, blocker. If you disagree with Fish, you cool.
You cool, yeah.
I love Ed, but I'm there to communicate and I'm there to learn. The as you kids, you 14-year-olds, you 3 14-year-olds will learn. So like the older you get, the more you're going, man, I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
Like it was only like 8 years ago that Jason Hatcher, and I won't say the specifics of it, but Jason Hatcher sat me down and taught me a defensive, defensive scheme thing.
Yeah.
That's so fundamental. I'm too embarrassed to tell you I didn't know it. So I'm 52 years old, and Jason Hatcher's teaching me something that I should have known 30 years ago. So I'm always learning.
Yeah.
Here's my Mike Nolan problem. The Cowboys tried it out of arrogance and ignorance. The Cowboys tried to do something that is unprecedented. It had never been tried before. It'll never be tried again. No off season, no OTAs, no mini camp, no spring, no summer, no preseason games, no real training camp. And they tried to install a new defense on Zoom meetings.
True. You lied.
That's what went wrong. They got on Zoom meetings with players they'd never met and said, you're going to move over here and you move over there and look at this. Here's a blackboard and we're going to do this. You can't install a defense on Zoom meetings. And the arrogance of the McCarthy Nolan staff to think that they're such powerful teachers. Can you imagine me? Can you imagine? It wouldn't be me teaching math because I'm terrible at math. What's the hardest kind of math?
What?
Trigonometry.
Geometry? Trigonometry?
Trigonometry.
Apparently, none of the four of us are very good at math.
No, they said there would be no math.
Economics,
Hey.
econ, all that stuff. Yeah.
Law, can you please teach us, trigonometry here in this Zoom meeting? Go. Can you imagine?
Google it.
So that was the Mike McCarthy. That was the Mike Nolan mistake, authorized by Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones, by the way, said his fault too. He authorized it too. The buck stops there. Never tried before. Will never be tried again. Had they taken this same unit minus Byron Jones and played the same style and system of last year, this would be a mediocre defense, because that's what it was last year, middle of the road. Instead, they tried to install something new. It was moronic. Not that the system's wrong. There's no such thing as a wrong system. But you can't teach a system on Zoom meetings, and that's why the defense is bad. They took good players and made them bad because of Zoom meeting installation.
I'd be very interested to see, because there's other coaches, first-year coaches with new teams that are having success or what have you. But I would be very interested. You kind of got my brain moving here. Go back and see those defenses, if they had new defensive philosophies in that same time frame or not, because that is very true. And then we always talk about it. This defense requires time and real practice, not Zoom meetings. But when you go, and I asked Darian Thompson this earlier, when you go from a conservative 4-3 defense to a drastically change into a 3-4 hybrid complex defense, and with a totally new, different coaching scheme from the top to the bottom, that has to be challenging. I mean, no matter who you are, I don't care how good you are, it has to be challenging. Hell, we saw Hall of Fame safety struggle a little bit to grasp the Ravens defense and Earl Thomas, and he's a Hall of Famer. So just imagine trying to get all this together here through Zoom, as you stated.
And fellas, I don't mean to, it's not all on the coaches, it's on everybody. As I like to say, it's everybody from the owner to the janitor. The janitor at the Star is a 3-9 janitor.
Yeah.
That's how football works. But tomorrow morning on Cowboys SI, we've got an interview, one-on-one interview with Darren Woodson. And wait till you read it. CowboysSI.com. He roasts the Cowboys players on defense. Roasts them.
Hey.
You got to read it. You won't believe, because remember Woody when he was on ESPN?
Yeah.
He wouldn't play their game.
Mm-mm.
I guarantee you they must have went to Woody and said, okay, here's what we want you to do today. We want you to call for the firing of Jason Garrett. He says, yeah, but I don't really believe in that right now. They're 4-1. Why would I want to? Well, I know, Woody, but we really need. That's why he's not there anymore. I agree. It's not him. So for Darren Woodson tells CowboysSI.com tomorrow morning that watching this Cowboys defense play is like watching flag football. He goes, they tackle like it's flag football. You got to.
We got to get Woody back on, yo.
Even with this defense and looking at everything. What do we do with Cheeto? What do we do with Jordan Lewis? What do we do with Xavier Woods? Those guys got expiring contracts. I know Cheeto would like to play and finish out strong. He's going to be released from the COVID list or what have you. But what to do with those guys? Do you bring in new stuff, new players to learn new systems, and we back in the same situation? It's like a conundrum.
Oh, you got to bring in. Go ahead, Fish.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't want to steal your thunder here.
Like, it's hard because when you get to know the guys, like I saw somebody on Twitter go, because Jordan Lewis made a play against Cincinnati, right? You got to bring Jordan Lewis back. I like Jordan Lewis. You don't got to bring anybody back because he made one play versus Cincinnati. Jordan Lewis has not been a difference maker, and that's the truth, and he knows that. Cheeto hasn't been a difference maker. Anthony Brown, I admire Anthony Brown. Not everybody knows it. I did this story exclusive on my YouTube channel at the Fish Sports. Anthony Brown doesn't just have a rib injury. He's got 2 groups of rib injuries. He injured all his ribs earlier in the year, rehabbed from it, came back, and then injured him again. That sucks. And he's trying hard to play. So this isn't about want to for most guys, but it is about performance. Anthony Brown's under contract. Who's going to pay Cheeto?
Nobody.
If
Some
Cheeto
The Colts.
Jordan.
if
if Cheeto comes back, it'll be because teams don't pay him. If Jordan Lewis comes back, it'll be because somebody else doesn't pay him. You can't go through their performance this year and say
no.
everything's great. This is the worst secondary in football.
Facts.
You know what's interesting about that? I was looking at it today when I was looking up some stats. This is so weird. This defense is weird this year. 6 times this year, they've given up more rushing yards than passing yards against them. 6 times in a passing league. You know, and when you go look at it, the big culprit, the big problem with the secondary this year is big plays. Right? Big culprit, big problem, big plays. Because they are ranked 6th in the league in pass yards allowed. And that's not necessarily a great thing, folks. It's most likely because anybody can run on us right now. So they're electing to just run the ball. Why would I pass it? There's times in the game, Fish, we're like, why is Baltimore throwing the ball? Why is Washington throwing the ball?
Baltimore in that game averaged 8 yards a carry.
Nuts. That's like pass. That's better than passing.
It is.
Yeah.
That's like Eric Dickerson in high school. Boy, did you see Eric Dickerson's numbers in high school? He was averaging 8 yards a carry. Yeah, because you're playing, Little Sisters of the Poor. This is pro football. You can't average 8 yards a carry. It's impossible. What was really troubling, and this happened in the Washington game and the Baltimore game, is not only were guys getting 29 yards on a carry, but nobody was touching them.
Yeah.
That's where when, like, early in the season, we said to McCarthy, we brought up the effort issue with McCarthy, and he's like, tisk, tisk. Don't, be careful criticizing a player's effort. And you guys know this, Law, you know this about me. I am careful about that. If you play pro football, like people go, he's a wussy. No, he's not. If you play high school football in Texas, you're probably a pretty tough kid.
Whew.
I don't say that about. I never say that about.
That's like semi-pro right there.
I don't like that. But Xavier Woods said you can't go 100% on 70 plays, and Tank Lawrence said we lack heart. We're lacking effort. That was after the Bengals, Browns. So we said it to McCarthy on the press conference. He said, "Don't ever do that." I'm like, Coach, I'm not doing it. Your own players are doing it. And it took McCarthy 2 more months
Finally
that there's an effort issue, even though 30 million Cowboy fans already knew it. That's a damn shame.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Fish. I ain't gonna lie. It's frustrating me because it's almost like when I watched this defense against Cincinnati, it's not like we stopped them. They were jumping around like we stopped them. They had outgained us, had more first downs. The only way we really won was the turnover battle because they were moving the ball pretty much how they wanted to with a Brandon Allen back there. I think the troubling part to me is the reason why the Dallas Cowboys the way they are is because I see on social media guys jumping up and down and great effort and this and that and slapping high fives. But it was the Bengals. That team was no good, and you didn't dominate them. The score, if you were to look at the score from afar, you would say the team Cowboys dominated them. But if you watch the game, you would say they didn't dominate them. And I think that's where I feel like there's a problem, in my opinion, because I see Cowboys acting like they did something. But in reality, you really didn't do nothing against these Bengals, and I feel like that's a maddening trend. So that's where I go. Who do you think are really the leaders here on defense? Because that's where it's lacking. They said they brought Tyrone Crawford back. He making this money. All we love is leadership, but where his leadership been?
It's Jalen Smith, baby.
I mean, what's going on with this leadership on this defense, or particularly on this defense? Who are these leaders, and why maybe are people underperforming? Because maybe they're looking at these leaders and say, you ain't really performing, so why should I really follow?
Man, leadership's a tricky thing to me. When the Cowboys went 12-4, boy, look at the leadership of Witten and Lee and Romo.
I didn't say that.
I know. The same exact guys went 4-12 the next year. So I don't know. Did the leadership all of a sudden Jason Witten wasn't a leader anymore? So I don't know. I think that leadership thing, the same guys are trying as hard as they can. And then this isn't an excuse, it's just fact. And then the ball bounced sideways. I mean, it does. Ask the Falcons. Because if not for the watermelon kick, the Cowboys' record would even be worse. If not for a ball bouncing this way or that way, the Cowboys' record would even be worse. I think the Cowboys' leadership thing is especially weird now because in a COVID time, the influence isn't the same. The time spent isn't the same. The ability to hang isn't the same. Tyrone, you want my red hot prediction?
Mm-hmm.
I think Tyrone Crawford this will be his last year. I think he'll retire.
Should.
I mean, who else picking him up, dog? Let's keep it real.
I think he'll retire. The hip and all that. But I'm telling you, when he couldn't travel last year because of the hip, he was missed. Defensive players missed their big brother. And so there is a chemistry thing that helps a team go. Dak Prescott not being available really is the singular reason for all of this. And we can argue all day long about Dak Prescott. Is he worth $40 million? I said this to Sean Sharif the other day. He goes, he might have said, he's not worth 40. I go, what's he worth? 35, he said. I said, give him the other 5 for leadership. Adds up to 40. Dak Prescott's presence is different, makes you different, makes you feel different. And that's why he's worth the money. I don't know about whether another team should pay him or a Dak Prescott clone is worth this or a different time or a different place. But Dak Prescott at this time is so pivotal to this locker room that he is the reason that they're 4-9. His injury is the reason, singularly.
Man, that's a great, and we'll segue right into that in a quick second. But I think defensively, more important than leadership at the moment is they just need good players throughout every level because it starts there. You can have the greatest leaders in the world. Sean Lee, hell, a lot of us want him to be a coach next year, assistant coach. That means you got to be some kind of a leader, right? But we need good players. You can be a hell of a leader, but if you're not a good player at all 3 levels, we're going to have what we have on defense. And these injuries don't help either. And like you said, the scheme switch of drastic change with no offseason doesn't help. But, it's kind of a great segue. I hate to derail it with the Dak Prescott thing. Here's what I want to know. I know James wants to know in the law. What's up with the agent and front office relationship, man? Because that's what worries me the most. I have all the belief in the world that Dak wants to be in Dallas. But, again, it seems like he's letting the agent do his thing, and my goodness.
I think the agent was searching for his own deal. He was leaving one agency, CAA, and looking to go to another. And I think I assume Dak Prescott was in on it. And hey, let's work together and let's get us both a deal. I'll get my deal and you'll get your deal. And then it didn't work out. I hope Dak was in on it because there was nothing wrong with the Cowboys offer. There was nothing insulting. I reported there was 5 years, $35 million a year, $110 million guaranteed. There's nothing, you don't have to sign it, but you're not insulted by that. And I think Todd France is the one that drove Dak to say, let's not do that. We can do something else. And I think Todd France might have had Todd France's own interests, not singularly at heart, not solely at heart, but involved. And that's too bad. Now we'll try it again. And this time it'll be 40. And I hope it gets done because it is a dark cloud that hangs over an organization. I go back to Kirk Cousins and Washington. They destroyed themselves by not deciding. Well, we'll tag him. Well, we'll think about it later. Well, we'll do it another time. Well, we don't know. If you say you don't know about your franchise quarterback, guess what do you think the other 52 guys think? And so they cannibalize themselves in Washington. And I hope the Cowboys don't do that to themselves.
Well, see, also even in that Washington thing, though, the general manager came out even later on and saying he didn't believe in Kirk Cousins, and
He
that's
didn't
the
even know
reason
his name.
he didn't believe in him, and that's why he said he wasn't going to sign him to a long term deal because he didn't believe in him. And if the general manager's coming out feeling that way, like you said, the other people, the other players, like, well, you ain't feeling that way. You just a lame duck quarterback, and that's why he had to get out of there.
By the way, look at Washington now. Ron Rivera, because they got a decision to make. A little bit gimpy Alex Smith versus Dwayne Haskins. You watch Ron Rivera. He'll make a decision.
You're going with Alex Smith. Watch.
It'll be firm. and he'll just and guys will go and 52 guys will go with it because Ron Rivera is firm. Hey, Washington's a scary franchise for the Cowboys. Outside of the owner is given power to Ron Rivera, and he's a rock. Ron Rivera is even going to help choose the general manager, which is weird, but Ron Rivera is a rock, and the owner's gotten out of the way. And I think Washington is a franchise that's trying to do things the right way. I don't know why they don't have a nickname, but otherwise, they've won 4 straight games. They beat your ass twice. Mm-hmm. They really put the Cowboys in a pinch. If it wasn't for those 2 games, Cowboys really would be in the mix. But because of those 2 games, they're kind of not.
How much you like the other guy who played for the Cowboys, Jack Del Rio? How much you like him?
I love Jack Del Rio.
And I'm in DC.
I don't know that, I guess he went public with his politics, which might not be the same as the 4 of our politics. Mm-hmm. And it might not be the same as everybody in the locker room's politics, but he's so solid that I would assume that players go, you know what? That's fine. You get to think that. I get to think this. We can still work together. I do that every day. You guys probably do too. I don't know, man. I'm so old. In my day, we didn't have public conversations about sexuality, religion, or politics. And it was a better day, I tell you, 14-year-olds.
hey, Fish, I want to say one last thing just on my end. I was listening to what you just said about the Washington football team. There's some things that were some key phrases that you said to me. You said, or to us, you said, guess what? Washington, you better watch out for them. They're going to be a problem for Dallas. You said the owner is moving out the way and allowing the coach to do his thing, and they are being good. Now, it's kind of weird you said that he's allowing him to choose the general manager, but these guys are doing good. Within 1 year of getting a whole new coach, they are doing good. Why? Because I heard you say the owner is moving out the way and allowing the coach to have the power. Do we have that in Dallas? And I feel like that's one of the reasons why these Cowboys keep going into circles, because of the control factor with maybe Jerry, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just coming from me.
The reason you get to be right is because the one constant over the course of 25 years is one guy. And it doesn't matter how much I like him, or it doesn't even matter how much somebody else doesn't like him. That's undeniable. And Jerry being in the big chair is never going to change until, as Steven likes to tell me, they put a tag on his toe, which I guess is funeral home talk. Is that how they do it?
I believe so.
Yeah. and I respect that. My defense of Jerry there is, okay, I own a bar, the Maverick Bar.
I was going to say something to you about that before the show. I was down there. I wanted to come, but COVID.
Okay, it's awesome.
Good for
and
you.
and had my name not been Fish, we would have called it Fish Sports Bar. Except I was afraid that people would think, "Oh, I'd love the salmon, please," because right? So we went with the Maverick Bar. But like Jerry's name is on the marquee here, and that's ego, but it's also like responsibility. It puts the heat on him too. For better or for worse, this is still Jerry's baby. I try to tell people he's got the biggest ears, and people don't know. He listens. So like Will McClay has enormous power here. So Will McClay is kind of like the general manager, but he's still. I think that it's not Jerry the person that gets in the way. I think it's the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys branding gets in the way. I think there's such a strong focus on marketing, branding, sales, America's team, that the next thing you know, the players go, hey, branding, that's not a bad idea.
Swipe me, eat the food, Beasley rapping. Like, yeah, Beasley said it. Beasley said, when I went to Buffalo, this was all about football and not brand. And we knew this, but the fact that a player said it, and then we continue to see the brand thing happen. And no offense to Jalen, but when Jalen gets signed, the first words out of his mouth were, I'm happy to be in business with Jerry Jones. Whoa.
In business, yeah.
And I do think that nails it. By the way, I love Jalen.
Oh yeah.
He's a great human being.
I don't know what's going on the field with the ups and downs. But if I wanted a business partner, it'd be Jalen. If I was going to open a church, I'd make him the deacon. I think the world of him. But I do think that the Cowboys brand, and I coined the phrase #53brands, that if you're learning from Jerry, if you're a Cowboy player and you're 25 years old and you're learning from Jerry, you learn two things. Well, you learn football and you learn business. And we would, as fans, prefer, why don't you do your business after you retire? Now, they have a right to tell us to screw off, but that's what a fan would want. Why don't you just do this one thing now, and then you can open up your insurance agency after you retire?
Darren Woodson. Perfect example.
Yeah. Real estate and everything. Man, that's some good stuff right there from Fish. Far as the draft going into the future, are you more of the team tanking, or I know you coined the phrase organically tanking?
We did.
Where's your position on that?
Here's a T-shirt.
Exclusive.
Organic tanking would sell.
That's your word, man.
Right now.
And the A in organic and the A in tanking is a Cowboy star.
He lying. It's just naturally tank, but I don't think there needs to be a tank or whatever now. We're 3 games left on the season. I think whatever's going to happen is going to happen right now. Earlier in the year where we were 2-7, that seemed like a more legitimate question. But we got 3 games left. Do we really think, Fish, the Cowboys are going to win this division?
Okay, here's organic tanking. That it just happens. So Savion Smith somehow is playing cornerback. Unfortunately, he played okay. It wasn't supposed to go that way. But I would push it. I think the beauty of where they are is no matter what they do, they're either going to win the division, which they're not, or still have a top 6 pick. Even if they win another game, aren't they still going to have a top 6 pick? So there's no downside in letting them do whatever they want. But I believe, and I've told this story before, I'll tell you guys, the year they went 4-12, I'm in Buffalo with them. And that's the game that Kellen Moore started at quarterback for no good reason. And who was the wide receiver that called himself the bag?
Bryce Butler.
Bryce Butler. Duffel bag.
Bryce Butler was the featured receiver for no good reason. Well, they were organically tanking. They were trying to lose that game. The Cowboys were. They recognized where they were going. Good for them. So I'm walking up the tunnel with who was the defensive lineman who led him in sacks that year?
Was that 2017?
Mincy? No.
Mincy.
Mincy? Okay.
I go, Mincy. I go, are you hurt? Because he didn't play. And he goes, no. I go, why didn't you play? And he goes, Fish, taking one for the team. They sat Jeremy Mincy, their best defensive lineman, so they would lose.
Wait.
And so, no matter what Jerry says, they understand how to do this. And if we get to the Giants game, week 17, and they're out of it, only if they're out of it, not if they're still in it, but if they're mathematically eliminated. And I've said the whole month should be this. I think this should be preseason in December. But by all means, Ben DiNucci should start at quarterback. Tony Pollard should play the entire game.
Oh, week 17, yeah.
Week 17. Reggie Robinson should play every snap at safety.
Bradley and 9 needs to play every snap.
Brandon and I should play every snap instead of 0. And on and on and on. Noah Brown should play every snap. Why are we waiting for August to see if those guys can play? We can get started on the process now. Preseason in December, or in this case, I guess it would be January 2nd or whatever it is. Preseason now, as soon as you're mathematically eliminated.
Unless Ezekiel Elliott needs like 30 or 40 yards to get 1,000 yards for the season.
Get that check, yeah.
That's an issue. I'll give you a good example. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Alden Smith, and we broke this story on CowboysSI.com. Remember when everybody was saying he signed a $6 million contract or whatever? No, it's a $1 million contract. And then every time he gets 4 more sacks, he gets another $500,000. So, yeah, if he's 1 sack away from another $500,000, Alden Smith's going to say, "You're going to do what to me?"
Right.
And if the Cowboys want to re-sign him, which they do, they probably better not do that to him. And a lot of guys have that in their contracts. So that's a concern. But by and large, you need to throw that game. Throw it. Tank it. The difference between finishing 3rd and 4th, how much would it cost you to trade up from the 3rd spot to the 4th spot?
But weren't we in this situation?
Hold on. It would cost you a 2nd-round pick. Right?
Yeah, we saw that with 49ers in Chicago.
Okay, by losing week 17, I'm giving you a 2nd-round pick for free. Take it. That's what I will say that to Jerry and Steven.
This happened. What year was it? Was it 2017? We won in Philly when Philly was like 13-2, and we beat them 6-0. It cost us like 4 spots in the draft. Yeah, for no reason. We weren't going to the playoffs.
What's your insight on the Seattle Seahawks? What did they really offer Alden? Do you know it?
I don't know. I know that he had his connection with Jim Tomsula, and his agent is here. And so I think they felt like there was a support group built here. Now, Alden went on DallasCowboys.com/1053 The Fan last night and went a little haywire. And he said, "We suck." He said, "We suck right now."
Yeah.
He said, "But we can be better. I believe in our guys. These are my brothers," all that stuff. And then he said the word B-blank-S like 1,000 times. And so maybe he was all fired up. But he wanted to be here. I don't know that that lasts till next year. If I'm Alden Smith, I'm not giving, hometown discount. This isn't my hometown. But I think Alden Smith is one of the great stories. He should finish 2nd in the comeback player of the year behind, obviously, the Washington quarterback.
That's a great point. I know a lot of us in Cowboys Nation are still leery about a long-term contract to Alden, but good story. I don't know if he'll be in Dallas next year, though. Truly, in my opinion.
My prediction is he would not be.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
So either.
I'd agree with you. And why would he want to come back? This is what I look at.
Why would he not use this as a springboard?
Right, and get more money.
You got one chance to get paid.
Because you ain't getting paid here.
And this team didn't pay him.
No, you ain't getting paid here. So go on and get your money. This is like you said, this is an audition for you.
Right.
Indeed, man. All right, Fish, listen. We 20 minutes? We don't want about 60. What? What'd you say?
Gosh almighty.
Yeah.
3 times the salary you were scheduled to pay me.
We'll try to, hopefully we got a nice round number for you so we can go ahead and chop this up, man, and get it out.
I don't need to even say this because I know you guys handle this, but you guys really do. It's a brilliant job. You're all this show has a cool factor. Like my show on the Fish Sport, it's just a dork factor. It's just a bunch of dorks. It's a dork club. But you guys, this is very smooth and cool.
Well, they call me Chill Will, so I'm just.
My show is like Miller. My show is Miller Lite. Your show is Cavassier.
Hey.
Pastor
or
Cavassier.
Dos Sagis, the most interesting man in the world. He
Yeah.
the smoothest dude ever.
Yeah, baby. Pastor Cavassier. That's what Buster said.
Man, I wish we could play that kind of music on here, but you know, they'll get us. They'll get us.
Right.
Parting shots, Law Nation and James to Fish here.
Well, Fish, man, I really appreciate you for jumping on the platform and showcasing your talent to everybody that's over here. I know everybody knows you already. And like if people don't know, you the first information. I listen to you, and then I go over here and I spit it out to everybody. So appreciate you for jumping on the show.
Well, as I point out in my deal, because I don't like the Steelers. I don't mean Pittsburgh. But I do like what Law does, because Law will say, here's my opinion of what Fish just reported. Whereas some of these guys are just going, hey, I hear that, well, you didn't hear shit. I mean, you heard it from me. So I like the way, and Mark Holmes does the same thing, and you guys have been a big help to me. I mean, I wouldn't, my crappy little show would be way more crappy without Law. I appreciate you.
It ain't crappy, man. But guess what? We could definitely help out. You know where to find us, man. We'll have to make this Fish thing something next year, man. Hopefully,
I'd love to do it. And of course, over on our thing, we're giving away. I think we hit 15,000 people.
Wow.
And so we're giving away. Yeah. So I guess tomorrow we'll give away the Boys Are Back book, and then we'll hit 17,000 probably in a couple of days. And we're giving away the Ezekiel Elliott bowling shoes.
Hey.
And then shortly after that, I'm giving away Des Bryant's 88 hoodie.
Man, you'll be at 20,000 by the end of this year.
Well, send them over. We're all friends here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, listen.
Tell them to send them over us too.
Hey, this year, well, next year when we go down to Oxnard, I already know, Fish. I know you're gonna set it out for us, right?
Yeah, we'll do it every night in Oxnard.
Oh yeah.
Hey Fish, are you Mike Fisher? I mean, I follow you on YouTube, but I can't tell if it's Fish Sports or Mike Fisher without clicking on it right now. On YouTube.
If you go to, I don't know, Law. What am I? I'm Fish Sports.
Let me go check for you, man, because I know you Fish Sports on Twitter. Let me see if you're Fish Sports.
There's another Mike Fisher out there, I believe.
That son of a bitch.
Okay.
I know you get all of his stuff. I said, dog, I clicked on him.
Listen, he's Mike Fisher on Twitter, on YouTube. So Mike Fisher, it's easy, simple, nothing to confuse about there. Mike.
Yeah, but
Fisher.
watch out for that. What about that hockey?
About hockey?
You guys are black. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Nope. You damn right. I don't know nothing about no hockey.
No. We don't know that.
For the Nashville Predators, who's married to Carrie Underwood, who you also never heard of.
Okay, now listen, Fish.
Oh, that Fish.
I googled to find some pictures to throw up on here, right? And some dude next to Carrie Underwood kept popping up. I'm like, who the hell is this? Did he do an interview with Carrie Underwood? Found out he's Mike Fisher.
Yeah. Every once in a while, somebody will tweet me and Carrie Underwood, and we'll tweet back and forth because she looks like my wife, except not as hot.
That's what I'm talking about.
You sure? Hey, Fish, you sure ain't no Miller Lite up in there? You sure?
No, I'm straight Cavassier.
I was about to say, I think there's Cavassier in there. Ain't no Miller Lite. There's a Cavassier. When I seen him kicking that leg up with that hand on the kneecap, I said, "Oh yeah, he feeling good."
Hey, I'm sorry, Fish. I'm sorry, but I think I might have found some breaking news here.
What?
I don't know how serious this is. Give me a second here. I'm trying to find it real quick. Somebody reported Mike Nolan not coming back. Is this true?
Mike Nolan?
Wait a minute. Let me look. I'm sorry. I hate to derail it, but we got Fish on here, so that means Fish can go ahead and start pressing buttons.
Exclusive.
He's got the text. Look, he's looking at that phone already.
I know. Let me go look.
He can't get fired on his day off now. Come on,
if we mean Mike Nolan's not expected to return, then we already knew that, and I mean no disrespect to the newspaper.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
We already know he's not expected to return.
Right.
That's what
Don't
it is.
we?
Yes. When he came out in his interview and he said, "Hey, I ain't worried about this." So, what do you think about your job? I don't worry about that. I just coach. That's when you know you're fired.
Yeah, it's Gelkin. Gelkin saying expected. So yeah,
Gelkin.
That's the word.
Yeah.
That's the word we're using here.
We all know you're gone.
He's not expected to return. So I know, Fish, you're gonna probably get on that, man. So
Gelkin, well, but I don't because we already know that. Gelkin, he's great. He's my guy.
He's fired, man. Yeah.
Mike Nolan's not going to be back. He writes Nolan's not expected to be back.
Expected, yeah.
Right.
So, with all due respect to the morning news, we already know that. We're all. You guys have probably all done shows on who the next defensive coordinator could be. Am I right?
We've been talking about it.
Wade Phillips.
We've been talking about it.
We've been talking about it.
No, it's
Phillips?
not no damn Wade Phillips, dog. That's going backwards.
Well,
You wouldn't like Wade Phillips' big game.
It's not that I don't like him. He been
Hold on,
here.
we'll save it for when
No.
Fish get off. We'll save it for when Fish.
Oh, okay,
get off.
we'll say when Fish get out. Part of the words for Fish, big game, James.
Hey, all I
Fish
can
has
say
something
is
to say.
I appreciate. Oh, go ahead.
what I've learned, and don't think I won't do this, is I'm going to go over to my YouTube now and go, not exclusive, breaking.
Right?
Mike Nolan won't be back. But I won't really do that except because we already know that.
Right.
We already know he won't be back. As you guys have said, his comments indicate that he knows he won't be back. When Jerry and Steven came on the radio and said Mike McCarthy will be back, right?
He mentioned Nolan.
They didn't say it about the other. There's a reason they didn't say it about the other. So, Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat. He'll get 3 more games. I mean, what if? But no. The change that we made there. And then regarding your list that we all are making, you can't. The Joneses should not pick the defensive coordinator. So if Mike McCarthy is not meshed with Wade Phillips, then they should not hire Wade Phillips. That'd be dumb. So it's got to be somebody. There's got to be a match. And I would like to think that Mike McCarthy, after 25 years in the game, would have a long list. Somebody mentions Dan Quinn. If Mike McCarthy has a relationship with Dan Quinn, then let's go. Then that's a conversation.
Seems like he prefers a 3-4.
Does Mike McCarthy have a relationship with Patricia? I don't know, but
please no.
I don't know, but you got to go. But this is the list that you have to go check.
Yeah. Normally they'd like to promote from within, though. To be honest.
And whoever brought up the George Edwards idea,
the
George Edwards idea is sound. Mike McCarthy can go to the Joneses and say, "I got him right here," and the Joneses should sit down and talk to him along with the head coach, and maybe that's your easy answer. Easy answer.
I'm gonna be interested to see how many 4-3 coaches Mike McCarthy had at DC, because I know he's a big proponent of 3-4, so that may be a hint on who we might get next.
Yeah, I'll never get over. I still can't get over sitting at the Star with McCarthy, and I'm the one that asked him, "What's your defensive alignment?" And he goes, "We're going to be a 4 down lineman team."
Yeah, he did say that.
And I wrote the heck out of it, and then
we're 3-4.
Didn't happen. Yeah. He also said we're going to fit our scheme to our talent.
Right.
And that didn't happen. People are misunderstanding what I'm saying about hiring a defensive coordinator. You got coworkers have to co-work. There's got to be. I'm not talking about yes men. I'm talking about coordination. You don't hire somebody that you don't know. You guys ever been? Well, you're a big executive in the executive world. I don't know what the hell you do for real life. Probably this. You make so much money at this. But if you were going to interview an assistant, wouldn't you want to mesh with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if we all get on Jerry Jones for, controlling the team, the best way to relinquish that control is to let your coaches hire those guys. He made, I don't want to call it a mistake because we had slight success with Jason, but I thought he made a mistake in hiring Garrett first before hiring Wade Phillips. But we know what that was about, Fish. But nonetheless, you shouldn't do that again.
Exactly right. You're right. And then some people think that Jason Garrett backstabbed Wade Phillips, and I don't know that he did. I just know that they didn't have loyalty to each other, and so loyalty in the building is a good idea. And so McCarthy has earned the right, certainly, to have a voice. but he's lost the right to do it unilaterally. I think he hired Mike Nolan unilaterally, and that's gone. He had so much authority to do what he wanted. He didn't even interview Colombo or Sanjay Lal. Didn't even interview him. That's a mistake.
He brought in his guy. It's crazy because I got on JG about his guys, but he brought in his guys. Mike Nolan's his guy. Joe Philbin is his guy, coached under him. The defensive line coach is escaping my memory right now. What's his name, guys? Tom Sula was one of his guys. They have that tree, that connection, and it was so obvious. Linebacker coach was in the Packers with him. His guy. Now I understand hiring people you're familiar with, but like you said, Fish, you ain't even interview nobody else.
Right. So ultimately, you got to hire somebody that you have some level of comfort with. Mm-hmm. I would say, my mom passed away, as you guys know, in February. If I feel like the person that would run my bar would be my mom. Well, people say, why? Because I know she wouldn't be slipping $20 bills out of the cash register. That's why. Mm-hmm. And so the same thing with hiring my staff. I want to hire. I got to hire guys that I mesh with. We mentioned Ron Rivera. I don't think Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio came up as two peas in a pod. I think they kind of threw themselves together. So not yes men, not best friends, but meshing. And Mike McCarthy deserves that, but not unilaterally. Not to the point where he doesn't even have to interview the people that are 10 feet away to talk to him.
Facts, man. Yeah. We will be definitely covering it just as much as you will be on this DC search, man, for real. There's going to be a lot of names that pop up, and we'll try to come to a conclusion amongst us fans here who we want, and then we'll see what JJ does. Well, I shouldn't say that. We shall see what Mike McCarthy does. McCarthy. But listen, Fish, we appreciate you coming on here. This was awesome. We could talk all night. I told you we can go. Now we got on Jesse about 3. We say he always 3 hours, but that's because we can go. So we going.
I make fun of Jesse, but I'm about ready to break his record.
Yeah, and listen, if we could. It could easily break his record. But we're gonna be respectful to your time, dog. We're gonna be respectful to your time. Yeah. All right.
Man, thank you. You guys are really good at what you do. I appreciate the forum, and we'll do it over in my house as well.
I'm ready for it, dog. I'm ready for it. Appreciate you, Fish. We'll get at you after the show. I know Law most likely will reach out with all this. All right.
All right, man. Thank you.